Alright, another alliance war, another stacked war for me. 10 fights this war, so I think I had 11 in the last war, 10 for this one. Just been given so many fights these last couple of wars, which is good because I'm playing not terribly at the moment. So while that's happening, might as well continue to assign me a bunch of fights. So this is just a quick look at the defense we're up against in BG2. We're up against Matrix, the smaller Matrix alliance, which means that it's not the most stacked defense we've come across. The placements, generally speaking, are a bit generic and in some cases kind of interesting, like Quake over there, that's kind of strange. Mojo there as well, pretty weird. Nick Fury on the regen mini node, that was really weird. But then Killmonger on Polka, that's pretty standard. So this was one of the alliances that got docked at the end of last season. So going into this, we were a little apprehensive just because we had faced a couple of the alliances that got docked last season. And yeah, even though we still finished in our target bracket of Platinum 1, it's still kind of frustrating to have lost those wars on piecemeal. So anyway, today I'm on Path 8 and then 7. I don't think I've ever done Path 8 before. It's in Section 1 and actually Section 2 as well. It's usually a pretty Doom-heavy path. And we have like 4 or 5, probably maybe even 6 rank 3 Dooms in BG2, and I am sadly not one of those. So for the last couple of wars, my rank 5 Doom has been enough. I think I've said before that a rank 3 Doom or 565 Doom in these stubborn wars, I think it's just pretty much impossible to die with him. Last war, I like a special 3 from Venom on Path 8 in Section 2, and just sort of tickled me. So anyway, this first fight is Gulk. Pretty interesting placement. Don't think I've ever seen him placed here before. Really easy fight. These nodes generally are just kind of diversity nodes more than anything. I don't think they ever normally get a kill. Warlock on the node after this every now and again. He grabs a kill, but not usually against any alliance that knows what they're doing. So yeah, this fight, really quick, really easy. Gulk is not a stubborn defender, looks like he should be. So yeah, really nothing to worry about. Unfortunately, I didn't get a Petrify. I had my Fear of the Void on, which would have melted him even quicker once he procced the regen. But that's all fine. Move on to this Surfer. This is the fight one of the fights I brought Doom along for. I'm also taking a Tigra Mini in Section 2, the encroaching stun again. And he's going to do that for me this time instead of Void. So generally this war, we didn't have any, at least in BG2 as far as I'm aware, any defenders that were placed with suicides. So yeah, these guys are obviously kind of war focused, even enough to maybe behave a little bit badly last season. So there was something we were very much keeping an eye on throughout the war, to make sure they weren't doing any kind of dodgy fights that just didn't seem quite right. I make a small mistake here. Basically on this node you get a power drain every time they lock a buff. I had nullified the only buff that he had at the time. So I thought I'd be good to throw my special 3, but you could have seen he just got his buff back just before I tried to throw my special 3, so I threw a special 2 instead. Silver Surfer, he's Incinerate immune, so that really wasn't ever going to do much damage, and obviously didn't really get any crits from the special 2 either. But all fine, like I say, really hard to mess up with Doom in these wars, and mess up in a way that's going to get you killed. This ended up being my only Quake fight. I was going to be Quaking a Rage Warlock, but instead we had someone take that with a Red Hulk in the end, which is fine because I definitely wasn't really feeling in a Quake mood this war. I find I play best with Quake if I'm just doing a string of Quake fights, rather than like just one Quake fight out of 5, say. So you can see in this fight I'm kind of jittery with Quake. It really is not my best Quake play at all. I did check his signature level you saw at the start just to see, like, just because I was nervous if I lost my precision buff from Dex that I would trigger the degen on myself. It's 660, I think, kind of low, so it's quite a small likelihood, especially at the start of the fight, to actually trigger the degen. You can see I just got tapped there just before the aftershocks triggered, so I'm just thinking, oh, this fight is just horrible. I want it to be over as quick as possible, and it finally is. So that ended up being my one Quake fight, which is kind of pointless a bit in the end, really. Should have been much better served in AQ if I'd known that that was going to be the only Quake fight. Anyway, this is a fun fight. This is Ebony Maw on the Power Snack mini node. Void is just great for this node. You'd have seen in the previous war I took Iron Man Infinity War on this, and it went just really well. Ebony Maw is actually a stubborn defender, which is kind of interesting, which kind of gives him new relevance in defense, I guess. You'll also see that because you can't always stun him when you parry his mediums, that you get with Void, you get, who's also a stubborn attacker, you get a lot of those destructible charges on Ebony Maw, which is great, so I never have to worry about him going indestructible from me evading his attacks. I'm trying to, at the start of the fight especially, trying to break his focus as much as I can, just because I don't want to mess up by trying to hit him when I have the falter on. As the fight goes on and as I've got my petrifiers up and his power is going to be under control for the rest of the fight, I switch that up a bit and I don't really try and knock him over anymore. Instead I just take the falter debuff and just get some free willpower healing, which is fine. At this point the fight is completely over. Even though he's still got some ways to go, his power's under control. He really doesn't hit hard enough to block, or even if he was to get me directly, he really doesn't do much. So again, falter debuff, willpower healing. I'm just making sure I don't get backed up too much to the wall. You can see he's also got max limber on, so my stuns don't last very long, which is another reason why I didn't really want to keep doing the knocking him down strategy. It's just a bit of extra risk if I get the timing wrong on that. But there we go. Easy fight, easy time. That was all my fights for that night, which I'm really glad that that was over with. I was crazy tired when I was doing all of those fights. Just wanted to get them over and done with as quickly as possible and go to bed. So, this fight. Last war I took this fight, it was a Tiger, only it was placed with Suicide, so I used Void, and it was sketchy as hell. I ate one of his special ones to the face, and also I almost missed the timing on my special to stop the encroaching stun. It was like a fraction of a second. This time I'm going to use Doom. You can see I'm boosting up pretty big. Well, it doesn't look big now, but I'm going to stick on a 30% attack and health boost as well, because I'm going to use that boost to do the rest of my fights, including the Thing boss at the end. So yeah, I arranged with two guys on my path here, IP and Zach. So we just ran through this path, single boosted all together, which is ideal way to go. And that way I did 10 fights and only used 2 rounds of boosts for the whole war, which was great. So yeah, this fight, so much better than the Void fight. My strategy here was to pretty much try and keep my aura up for as much of the time as possible, because when you have the aura, Doom's special attacks, his special 1 and his special 2 are unblockable. So I just trying to hold her block, she's being cagey, I can just break through that and not have to worry about being punished. And obviously getting specials off at a time of your choosing in this fight is just the key to not dying. So yeah, this fight entirely under control. I think if I ever do this fight again, I'll, if I'm allowed to take Doom to war, I will always be doing this rather than using Void. Even though the last war Tiger was from the Suicide, so you'd think Void was great for it, but I played terribly. So from now on, I'm just going to use Doom. So on to the next one, Champion. I don't think I've ever seen Champion placed on this node. Pretty weird placement. I think the logic is to try and get a Doom here, and Doom's pretty much always going to have a buff on him, because he'll always steal the spike power gain that the opponent has. But ultimately, Doom against an opponent that gets more power is just like party time for Doom. So yeah, pretty weird placement. I guess it's really just a defender diversity placement, but really I think that node is actually kind of nasty if you place a good defender on it. We placed my rank 3 Domino on that node, and she got like 2 kills in this war. And we have my Dark Orc after it. I guess rank 3 Corvus well boosted is probably the best option for taking both, but if Domino goes caging with that spike, special 3, and you'll be dead very quickly. So yeah, this fight, 2 special 3s, like I say, so much power for Dr. Doom. He can just cycle the specials so much, and yeah, really easy fight. All my Doom fights this war were insanely easy. Okay, so the next fight, Blade on node 43, I think. Yeah, I dislike this fight. Really dislike this fight. It wasn't really anything me like playing horribly. He just unfortunately shrugs off one of my parries at one point, and Blade can do that, and I think it's based on how much his power is filled. So the more power he has, the more likely is to shrug off his debuffs. But he wasn't even at that high power. I think he was below 1 bar of power when he did it, which is just really unfortunate. But there we go. It did cost me a few health potions, so yeah. This is Aspect of Evolution and Kinetic Transference. So I normally take Blade in Section 1 on Path 7, where there's another Kinetic Transfer node. And it's never really a fight I especially enjoy doing. It's quite a difficult fight. Especially if you don't get the petrifies early on. You'll see for most of the start of this fight, I'm really just eating some Blade to the face. I'm really just waiting to get my petrifies up, because as soon as the petrifies are up, the power he gets from kinetic transference is stopped, which basically then just makes it a normal Blade fight. Me hitting into his block there, hoping he would try and start regenning and drain his power a bit. Didn't work out. Oh well. So there we go, 2 petrifies up now. He's not going to be getting any extra power now. So now I just have to worry about the fact he's on Aspect of Evolution. He's filled his bars of power a few times, so he's going to be pretty chunky now. He's going to hit into my block harder. If he hits me directly, it's going to really hurt. So just have to be aware of that, and his combat power gain is, there we go. Okay, so he was actually quite a bit above a bar of power, so that really was my bad. But yeah, that's pretty much, God, that really cost me a few health potions, but I think when you're taking like 10 fights at this sort of level of war, you just take that on the chin, just sort of expect it. So next fight is this Doom. I took this Doom in the previous war as well. Again, that Doom was running suicides, so Void just completely melted him. We're going with the same strategy this time, even though he's not placed with suicides. He's got max limber, but it's fine. I've still got my power start 1 boost that I used for the Blade. That's really just to help get some debuffs on him a bit quicker. As you can see, the first debuff I get was Petrify, which is brilliant. So now his power rate from Powerful from Afar is like cut in half. And for whenever I'm fighting Doom now, I always prefer to bait his special 2. I find it so much easier to evade. Equally, most of the damage from his special 2, the really potent part of it, is the incinerates he puts on, and Void is very helpfully incinerate immune. So I'd much rather just eat that rather than potentially getting a shock on myself from his special 1. It's definitely the way I'd rather go. So yeah, he's not going to throw a single special 1 throughout this fight. Also, his special 1 activates his aura as well, which is just like another level of annoyance. Here I throw a special 1 into his block because, I don't know, I just want to make things a bit more difficult for myself. Here I don't properly evade the special 2, but like I say, I just get hit by the last bit. I'm incinerate immune, so really nothing much happens. And yeah, really, this is one of the most... this is one of the nodes that gets the most amount of kills in our defense. We don't place Doom there. It is just a nasty node, though. There's a lot of options. I see a lot of man things there. I see a lot of things there. Nick Fury, quite common there. And it's very often, regularly, it gets kills, whoever's placed there. So it is a challenging node, but I think Dr. Doom is definitely not the best defender to put there, especially when there's a Void on the team. So going on to Mini Island, still running my boosts, taking on this Sorcerer Supreme. It's increased power gain and Aspect of Evolution again. So you'll see towards the end of this fight I take some pretty hefty hits into my block. Normally I would assign a magic to take this, but we didn't. Our best magic player wasn't able to bring magic for his paths today, so Void, next best option. Now the only way this fight can really go wrong, aside from just getting hit, is if she's cagey with her specials and just goes to a special 3. But as you're going to see, because it's special 2 bias, she's just happy to throw her special 2 all day long. Every time she gets to it, she's just boom, throwing it. Which is just great for me because I can just sort of chill. I've got my 2 Petrifies up now, so her power gain rate is way down. And you're going to see when she throws her next special 2, she's going to, or one of her special 2s anyway, she's going to put an armor break debuff on me. So I'm going to get some free willpower healing as well, which is great. So after this, I'm going to be taking the Thing boss. It's a rank 3 Thing boss. I have not taken a rank 3 Thing boss before. I don't think I've even attempted it before. In fact, the last war, where I barely took down a 565 Thing boss, was the first time that I've taken Thing bosses with Void. But this time we were a lot better prepared. Now that we know that me with Void is the best option for taking down the Thing boss, we plan to bring in some pre-fight abilities to put on things. So we've got some re-debuffs placed there. We've got the White Magneto synergy to give me some extra attack rating on there. The whole lot. It's a long list. Every pre-fight that was available and of use was on the thing. So yeah, this is the big fight. This is the one we've I've been waiting for and kind of dreading, because at this point I'm on a deathless season and I've been taking loads of fights. Really don't want to die to this thing, but as I say, we have prepared well this time. With all the pre-fights and everything, I feel a lot more confident taking Thing now after one-shotting him last time, even though I very nearly died. Obviously that was a 565 Thing. This is rank 3 Thing. This is the big deal. If I one-shot this, then I will probably be assigned to everything boss that we see throughout this season and beyond, which will be fine as long as I can do it. So, yeah, for this fight I'm trying to refresh those pre-fight debuffs that are already on there. Void obviously deals with every debuff, regardless of what the source of the debuff is on the opponent. So I'm going to try and punish his special heavy, punish his heavies with my heavy. That was a bit of a dodgy. You'll see for the rest of the fight, I get my spacing when I'm punishing his specials. Better. Also different to previous times, I've got the spacing in the arena a lot better. I'm keeping him up against his wall rather than my wall, which is what seems to often happen to me. And I absolutely hate it as well, just playing Void like this quake in my corner. It's horrible. It's when he does his heavies and I get hit. It's where everything goes wrong. This time, so far, so good. Got my Fear of the Void up. Still got all of the fight debuffs up as well, so those refresh them, just knock him down, either with heavies or with specials. And I'm really concentrating on timing my specials and heavies with refreshing those debuffs. So you'll see here, I've left 3 rock stacks to go. Void's heavy, it's 3 hits. So just balancing all those together. He's throwing heavies just randomly in the just about managed to keep the debuffs up there. That was really close. But yeah, at this point I am confident that this fight is down for me. I've got 72 hits here and he's below 2%. I'm well above 50. So yeah, really happy with how this fight went. By far my best fight, I think, period so far. So really looking forward to doing more of those now. So that was actually quite fun. So we did win this war. BG2 had its best performance ever. We only died 1 time. That was a really unfortunate death. I'm sure we'll be getting a clean sweep soon. So yeah, really good war. Don't think there was any dodgy practices going on. So all good from our side. Really happy. Oh yeah, and this was just before the war ended. I took the screenshot, and 2 of my defenders were still up. Darkhawk on 43 and Storm Pyramid X on the Path 6. They were both of them my defenders. Both of them are still standing. So yeah, my attack and my defense really put in work this war, which is great. So I'll see you in the next one.